Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Today I'd like to go over a little bit of mainstream media attention that an issue I talked about in this channel 2 years ago got. On this channel, I've gone over a lot of issues with Apple products, particularly the issues that you tend to see with Apple products that you just don't see with other products in that particular lane from other manufacturers, even when they're cheaper. And it's something that's particularly bothersome, not because you have the issue, not because you have the issue with a product that costs over $2,000, but because you're having that issue with a product that costs over $2,000 from a company that's gotten over a $3 trillion market cap that very often doesn't take accountability or responsibility for the issue. If they simply turned around and said, mea culpa, my bad, we'll fix it for you, I would understand. The problem I have is that you often have these issues with Apple products that don't exist in other brands, and when that happens, the user is the one that is screwed. And very often you'll hear people on forums fight and argue as if Tim Cook is going to give them stock for defending this behavior by saying, well, if you couldn't afford the repair, don't buy it. Or, you must have broken the device, or you should have paid more for AppleCare, or something like that, rather than actually hold the manufacturer accountable and responsible for producing a product that has this type of failure in a part of the world where we don't exactly have the best when it comes to warranty law. I went over that in this video, the horrible truth about Apple's repeated engineering failures. And 5 years later, I stand 100% behind every criticism in that video. Every criticism I've made in that video, for the most part, are criticisms that are valid and that you also will not see in many other makes and models of computer, even ones that are cheaper and have more standard ways of failing. Apple is a company that very often tries to push the limit, and I respect them for that. I respect them for saying that battery life on PCs was garbage 15 years ago. We're going to come up with a better way to make an efficient computer. I appreciate them for saying we are not going to ship $2,000 computers with a 1366 by 768 TN screen with garbage gamma, black levels, and color. It's just, we're not going to do that. We are going to ship every one of our machines, even the cheapest one, with a solid state drive. Customers may see that there's a lower gigabyte number, but they're going to appreciate that our machines boot up faster, and they'll learn how to use external devices or cloud storage to store their data, because having the operating system on an SSD matters. In many areas, Apple has a genuine sense of taste, and I appreciate that, and I applaud them for that, and I understand why people use their products. The main issue that I have that very often gets overlooked when I'm criticized on sites like Mac Rumors or Reddit r/Apple is that at the end of the day, what bothers me the most about this company is when they release something that they make a lot of money off of, and they have a design flaw with it that genuinely affects the end user, and that end user is left hung out to dry. That's what I don't like. And this is something that I talked about in a video I did 2 years ago, how dust destroys irreplaceable parts of your MacBook Pro, and it actually got picked up by Forbes. In this video that I did damn near 2 years ago, I'm showing you a part of the machine that is very easy to get exposed to dust because it is right by the fan. A lot of dust is going to go here. And unfortunately, it's not shielded particularly well in the manner that most other PCs are. And simultaneously, they also have this exposed display flex cable that's not exposed on many PC laptops of the same type that also just so happens to be by where there's just going to be a lot of dust moving around the machine. And unfortunately, this dust winds up getting into the device and actually pressuring itself against it. So when this cable is moving back and forth, once it is moved like this, once it closes, when you have that little piece of dust in there, it winds up stabbing the cable and making a lot of issues. Now, on this channel, I have a number of videos based on whether it's display issues or charging issues. We're actually fixing a cable at component level, whether it's a cable utilized as a sleep sensor, or a cable that's used for the display, or a cable that is used for signaling. We have often fixed flex cables at the component level on this channel. We have many videos doing that. I haven't offered this as a repair yet because sometimes it could just be very often difficult to find where all the breaks are, and it's just not something that I felt comfortable at this point in time warrantying and giving back to a customer. But other repair shops have taken it on, and I am very, very happy that they have taken it on and that they feel comfortable taking it on and that there are people doing these repairs. But more importantly, I'm happy to see it finally getting mainstream attention, because this is something that happens with $2,000 to $4,000 Apple products that they will not cover you on if you have an issue. That does not happen with $300 and $400 PC laptops. And I'm not saying that there's no reason to use a Mac. I'm not saying that there's not a lot of things that they don't do better. I'm saying that you should expect that if you don't have this issue with a $200 Chromebook, that you not have this issue with a $4,000 MacBook. Is that fair? Is it also fair to say that if they would cover you if you had this issue on a $200 Chromebook, that they cover you when you have this issue on a $4,000 MacBook? What does the market cap of Apple have to be before they decide to take accountability and responsibility for design flaws? I'm not advocating that you pay me for this repair. I'm advocating that Apple open an extended warranty program the same way I would have to if I realized many of my customers got a faulty part and pay for it out of pocket. This article comes from Forbes. It says new MacBook Pro dustgate problem is breaking Apple laptop displays, which again, late is better than never. November 2023. I would have preferred more people notice this back in 2021, but I'm happy it's getting attention. A new display fault has been dubbed dustgate that's plaguing several MacBook Pro models, repair specialists say. The issue, which causes purple vertical lines to appear on the screen when the MacBook lid is open at a certain angle, has been seen on several MacBook models, according to their specialists. It's a common problem. We get several of them a week, Steven Steins from Repair Shop Notebook Nerds told me. The problem appears to arise from the screen flex cable, which connects the display to the main body of the laptop. At the hinge point between the screen and the keyboard, there's a gap that can collect dust and dirt. Debris then gets onto the cable end and through opening and closing the lid damages the cable over time. Again, there are many devices out there where cables can get broken if you're like jerking it back and forth way too hard. How many of them get destroyed by dust? This, repair specialists say, is what causes the purple line's fault that can be difficult and expensive to repair. Check out a demonstration of the fault in this iCorrect video and the image above. Below are images from a repair. The left image shows the damaged flex cable, while the picture on the right shows where the dust collects that leads to the fault. He says, Ricky Panesar, founder of repair specialist iCorrect, that the same issue impacts A1989, A2251, A2289, A2338, and A2141 units, with the latter being the worst affected. Yeah, the 2141s are also the ones where the SSDs die for no reason. Lovely computer. These models were released between 2018 and 2020, but Panesar says that MacBook Pro models that were sold between 2016 and 2020 have a similar design that could be susceptible to this fault. Scanning forums, there are posts across Reddit and Apple's community pages describing vertical purple lines in various MacBook models, which appear to be the same issue. Panesar says he's been repairing at least 4 affected MacBooks a week, and he's at over 50 in the last year. Both Panesar and Stein say this is a common problem, but the repair isn't easy. The difficulty is that the damaged cables connect in the back of the screen itself. To repair, you have to remove the screen from the outer shell without breaking it and solder in new flex cables. There is a high risk of breakage, Panesar explained to me. Now, I've gone over how to take this type of screen out on this channel before. I have a couple of videos showing you how to do that. Let me just look them up over here. There's a couple of videos I have doing stuff like this. One of them was done by one of my technicians. Another one was done by me. It's a particularly difficult job to do. And again, there is a very, very high chance of breaking the screen when you do this job. Here are the 2 videos. They are fairly old, back from when I actually did screen repair. This video is from 2016, and Milan's video over here is from 2014. These are very old videos, but they go over it. It's a very similar process when they started gluing the screen in. Further, there's another issue here that they don't talk about in the article. Not only is there a high issue with breaking the screen, but the other issue over here is that the screens are no longer available the same way they were before. Back in the day, if I wanted, and I talk about this in this video, the lower rungs in the economic ladder are gone. If I wanted to buy a screen to one of these devices, I could buy LP133 WP1 TJAs by the carton. I could buy 400 of these things at a time and get them for as low as $72 a piece, straight from an LG broker. These are grade A panels. They are identical to what is inside your MacBook. They look and function beautifully, and I know that they're good because they came from LG for $72 a piece. For the 11-inch, I can get a B116XW05 V.0 from an AU Optronics broker for $38. If I wanted a Retina screen, I could find LT133 WP1 TJAs for the A1502 Retina for as low as $85. These were great deals. Not only were they great deals, but they were coming from a broker of the manufacturer, so I know I was getting the same type of grade A part that you were getting in your computer. The problem that we have now is not only are these parts not available, but the parts that are available are often garbage. They are the throwaway parts. They are the parts that didn't work. They are the parts that weren't good enough, that didn't pass inspection, that are used, cracked, brittle, or broken, and they want $150 to $350 a piece for these. So if you break that original screen in that customer's computer, you're fucked. You have to go out and buy a display assembly, which is going to cost you a lot of money. And very often those display assemblies are used, or they're, quote, new, using one of those garbage panels that was thrown away that they were selling as new, that they refurbished it with, which just never look as good as the original anymore. I don't use those. I've completely stopped doing LCD-only repairs on these devices because I can't offer you the same level of quality that I could when I could actually buy that panel directly from an LG or AU Optronics broker, buy the pallet, and have them actually function and work well. So if you break that panel, Okay, there's all the work that's involved in removing it. And again, if you watch this video, there is a damn good chance that you are going to break that panel on removing it. It's a very high chance of that. You also have to deal with the fact that when you break it, you may be looking at spending $150 to $300 on a panel that's worse than the one that the customer has. And now we're dealing with all these other issues with the new models where the panels are have this type of calibration routine and all this type of stuff. So you have to transfer the chip from the old one to the new one. It is a nightmare, which is why you don't have a lot of people performing these particular repairs anymore and why these repairs are as expensive as they are. He says over here that both say it's easier to replace the entire display assembly, which Panosar says is Apple's typical solution for this fault and could cost customers upwards of $625 if they don't have AppleCare. I asked how Apple fixes a MacBook display that is faulty because of a damaged flex cable, how much it costs, but the company didn't immediately respond to my question. I guess they have less people available than the independents that actually, have people picking up the phone during open hours to answer questions from people, but whatever. The repair experts claim that Apple has quietly resolved this problem in their later MacBook models, 2021 beyond, which have more protection for the flex cable. But for devices that were sold between 2018 and 2020, Panosar says that users will have to regularly and rigorously clean their laptops to prevent dust buildup. Dustgate is similar but not the same as flexgate issue that affected the 13-inch MacBook Pro laptop sold between 2016 and 2018. That problem was also related to the flex cable that connects the display to the control board beneath the touch bar. The cable would over time degrade after repeatedly opening and closing the lid, which caused a spotlight effect on the display. Apple eventually acknowledged this problem and offered a repair free of charge. However, there's a big if over here. If you had an A1706 13-inch model from 2016, they covered you. If you had a model with the exact same flex cable failure, an A1706 from 2017, sucks to be you. If you had an A1707 15-inch model from 2017, which had the exact same failure, sucks to be you. They did not cover everybody covered by FlexGate. They covered a small number of the people that were covered by FlexGate while leaving everybody else out to dry. I am not asking that Apple go bankrupt. I am not asking that all of their customers decide overnight that they're going to use another brand. I'm not asking people to make fun of people who use Apple products. On this channel, what I would like to see happen is them act with accountability and responsibility the same way that we do. I have had to do recalls before. I have learned that batches of my parts were not good. And when that happens, I look back through my inventory system. I look at every single person who got that part and people who may have gotten that part that were around the same approximate area. And I instruct Kevin and Patrick to call and email every single one of those customers and let them know and provide them with a return label to send it back, expedited shipping back, or to fix it for them at no charge if they bring it into the store. Because that is the right thing to do. We have to take accountability and responsibility when we do something wrong. And all I ask is that $3 trillion companies be held to that same standard. Many people on forums, again, the thing that kills me the most when it comes to these issues is when you read comments from people that read something like, you must be poor. If you can't afford the repair, then don't buy the device. You should have bought AppleCare. Okay, cool. Maybe he should have bought AppleCare. How about this? Maybe a company creating a $4,000 machine should not include design defects in it that don't come in a $200 Chromebook. How about that? How about we hold the $3 trillion company accountable at the same time that we're holding the broke-ass college student accountable? Can we do that? Can we hold both of them accountable? Because, again, it's one of these things that drives me crazy. The thing that drives me the most crazy in the 15 years that I've been in this business is people walking into the store and just going, I can't believe they did that to me. When I would point out that, no, this is not just you. This is a design flaw. The design flaw that I talked about in these videos that have lasted over 15 years. This doesn't just apply to you. This applies to all of these devices, eventually. What kills me is when I say, I can't believe that they did that. Because it almost, there's something that breaks in their head when they realize that this company was not their friend. They felt that when they paid a premium for that product, that would actually be a product designed by a company that would respect them in some way, or that would take accountability or responsibility, or not sell them something that they knew to be faulty and not cover it. And they would go, I can't believe they did that. I can't believe they get away with it. And when you see that day after day after day, 5 times a day, 8 times a day, 10 times a day, it just kind of eats you up inside. So when people ask, what is my motivation when I do these videos? Why do I do this video? What is the point of it? I want to see them held accountable. Because it's tiring to hear people's pain every single day and not do anything about it. I didn't even start this channel until 3.5 years into having this business. How could you listen to people explain this to you every single day and not be even the slightest bit aggravated at the company that just seems to skate by scot-free, often never taking accountability or responsibility for the defective merchandise that they produce for people? I'm not asking you to hate them. I'm not even asking you to not use them. I'm asking you to hold them as accountable and responsible as you would hold me if I sold you a defective piece of merchandise, if I did a repair for you that didn't last because I used shoddy practices that were different from the practices that were utilized by everybody else in the industry. If everybody else in the industry was doing something B, and I decided to go and do it A, and mine failed after a year, and theirs lasted 8 years, wouldn't you kind of be aggravated at me? Wouldn't you ask that I maybe consider, since I decided to do something in a very non-standard way that failed, that maybe I take accountability for it? You may be asking, Lewis, if I want to buy from a company that actually takes accountability and responsibility for things, where should I go? Well, check out Framework. Are you going to get every bell and whistle you get with the newest model MacBook? No, you won't. But you're buying from a company that takes accountability and responsibility for things. They had an issue with RTC batteries on their first generation products, and they posted instructions online. Those instructions were not exactly what some people were looking for, so they kind of made it a little bit easier, and they even put out a part, and I think if you contact them, they'll work something out with you so that you can get a working laptop. This is a startup. This is a startup that was started with very minimal funds during a time of rising interest rates in a shit economy. And they are taking more accountability and responsibility for their design issues than a company with a market cap of over $3 trillion with over $50 billion in the bank. It's just one of those things to think about. And, again, this is one of the reasons that I'm proud to use this device. Again, is the battery life the same as a MacBook? Not really. Does suspend work as nicely in Linux when you use XFCE as a desktop environment and Lux for encryption? It's a little rough around the edges. But I like using devices from people that I believe respect me. That matters a lot to me. And companies like this existing matter a lot to me. I'll end the video on that note. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.